Welcome to the 8th Annual Hypnosis Convention. Would you be interested in being able to do self-hypnosis anywhere, anytime, regardless of if you're in the middle of doing something, interacting with somebody, home alone, quiet, in the own time and space to do something? That's what I'm about to teach you today. I find the most powerful methods of self-hypnosis are very different to the average person's belief of self-hypnosis. Most people find they either put themselves into a trance with an intention and sit and let that be, or they sit with a tape recorder and record their own voice and guide themselves through some kind of therapy. Now, these options can work and have been known to work and have been proven to work for a long time. The other option is just auto-suggestion, in that Emile QA way of continually repeating something again and again to yourself, that each and every day you'll be better and better in each and every way. Maybe it's adapted to your own process of something very specific for you. But these methods are single directional way. They are you trying, hoping to get a message through to your consciousness. Kind of like how at the moment you're watching this video. It's one way. You can talk all you like at that monitor that you're watching this on, and I will not hear it. To engage in conversation with me, you have to send me an email, a message, something of that sort, and hope I see it and respond. Then we have two-way communication. Those traditional forms of self-hypnosis, unless you have a very active imagination of showing you things when you're in trance, are just one-sided of a projection to that subconscious of yours. I like it to be two-way. I like to engage in conversation with my subconscious or parts within. I use a parts therapy approach to talk to different aspects of my consciousness within a self-hypnosis framework. And I can do it anytime, anywhere. I can do it while I am working. I can do it while I'm in conversation with somebody. I can do it while I'm even driving. This is a very powerful method. It uses ideomotor response to engage in that feedback where you always have dialogue with that subconscious that you're talking about. So I hope you enjoy and stick around for this class. I'm Lance Baker. Let's get into it. So an ideomotor response. Originally it was called the William Carpenter effect. He was one of the first people to explore this. Chevreul, with his pendulum, developed it quite a lot deeper in his studies. And Hippolyte Bernheim really delved into it with hypnosis, and he coined the term ideomotor effect, ideomotor response. He played with it, he wrote about it, and engaged deeply in his studies with the subconscious mind of communicating within trance, of having that two-way response, and noticing he could give a suggestion and see a response from that. And you could use that for communication. It was left aside for a long time and came back into full swing with Milton Erickson and Ernest Rossi to engage in deeper therapeutic approaches with this. I use this all the time in my clinic. It's extremely, extremely rare I would do hypnosis without getting an ideomotor response from my client's subconscious. An ideomotor response is where part of the consciousness takes over part of the body to give some sort of movement. So more often than not, it's a flick of a finger. Consciousness, show me a yes. Consciousness, show me a no. And you get that flickery sort of movement like my pinky and index finger just did. Again, show a yes. show a no. There we go. So we have that feedback and that dialogue, and part of me, I know, is now listening. And sometimes it will even respond when I'm not asking a question. Now with this, I have communication now, and I can engage. And so it's my consciousness firing off my nerves, my neurons to do things. This is partly where it sticks from, of those suggestions to get a hand stick, to get a fist locked that stays tight together without an opening. But you don't just have to do it with a finger. You can do it with a whole hand movement. You can do it with an eyebrow, a lip twitch, a nose twitch, ear twitch, anything you like. You can ask with a direct suggestion for a signal and then observe. So if your consciousness can't do it with the fingers, feel for where else in your body you might have a twitch, a quiver, a flicker, and see what happens. So I engage quite often with my consciousness using these methods, and it gets really easy. The more you do it, the clearer that communication gets, and then later on, you can be in the middle of something and think, and you get an answer. This is powerful. Right now, I'm delivering a class online to you, and I'm engaged in conversation with my consciousness. I'm not in trance. I'm not even in a light trance. I'm very conscious, very coherent of everything that's going on. I'm fully alert, and I'm fully aware. And even while I'm doing it, I could think a question of something completely unrelated and get an answer. And then there's just been a slight pause in between my words, and I've got feedback of what's there, of what's going on. So let's say I was wanting to lose weight. I could then have that urge, that impulse to eat a donut, to eat a cake, to eat a chocolate, whatever it was that I shouldn't be eating, that I've got that urge for. I can ask to speak to the part of me that created that urge. And I can talk to it and say, do you really want that? Yes. Do you feel like you need that? Sometimes you get a yes, sometimes you get a no. I don't have any actual desire for it, so it's not even answering, because I'm not talking to that part of my consciousness. I don't have a desire to have anything like that right now. But I can talk it through, taking that desire away and moving forward. And if it's really needs something, like I'm hungry, I can barter and engage. Would you accept an apple instead? An apple's sweet, an apple's juicy, an apple's nice. Would an apple satisfy that urge, that hunger, that sensation? Maybe I'll get a yes, maybe I'll get a no, maybe I've got to move on to an orange. Perhaps I've got to move on to a sandwich or a piece of ham, whatever. I can find that and come up with that healthy agreement and let it go. If it was a smoker and I was trying to give up smoking, I could say, am I trying to have this cigarette because I'm stressed? Am I trying to have this because of a nicotine urge? But I can find out why I'm doing the thing, so that I can find out if I've got the best option of how to combat that, of a different resource to give, rather than just have an urge and impulse and follow it. Do you start to see how this could affect your life to be amazing? Let's go and delve deeper into this. Now, with this, I don't just use the subconscious model. I use a parts therapy model. I don't see my subconscious mind as just one thing. It's not just me and my subconscious that are in a battle or working together as a team. I see my consciousness as multitudes of aspects. I've sat and deliberated 4 or 5 sides of an argument before. I'm not just black and white. There's grey areas. I'll have part of me that wants to have certain work goals, part of me that wants to have certain family goals, part of me that wants to have certain relationship goals, part of me that wants to have certain friendship relationship goals, part of me that wants to do other different things in my life. Gurdjieff talked about this years ago of the many eyes inside. He talked about a different you was the person who picked the paper up in the morning compared to the person who went to work, to the person who came home, to your wife, and so on and so forth. And he was definitely on to something. Right before I recorded this, I had the option. I had somebody wanting to book in for a job, and I could have changed my plans and fit them in because they had an important therapeutic need. But I'd committed to making this. I could have found some other time to do this, but I had a designated next session slot on my calendar, and that is what I emailed them back with an option for. I had a friend who teaches some interesting classes send an email today that he had a class starting today that was really interesting, and I was very keen. It was right at the time that I had my calendar for this to start, but I chose not to. I chose to drop that aside. It's a fantastic day outside. It would be a beautiful day to sit down by the lake and have some grilled fish and enjoy the view. I could have done that. I could have gone with my partner for a walk and a play in the park with the kids. I could have called up an old friend and done something. I could have just had a lazy day at home. I could have had a sleep in. I could have done all sorts of things. And these thoughts all popped up. Now, some of them were stronger than others. That is not just a subconscious model. They're not just random thoughts either. They're different aspects to who I am that have different levels of priority. All of them need somewhat of acknowledgement. All of them need somewhat of support at different times. All of them are beneficial in different ways within my life at different times. Now, when I engage in those with conversation in a self-hypnosis approach, I can take use of all these things to be the best version of me I can be at any one time. I can suppress desires and urges that are not helpful in that situation and follow through on them later at a time when they are suitable, appropriate, helpful, or beneficial. If they're completely not, then I can find a way of engaging with that part of my consciousness and mediating a response to get a better outcome for both of us, where I can connect with why this part is doing that and maybe achieve that end goal in a different way. So that's parts therapy. And that's what I want you to do, is identify some different parts of your consciousness, and we're going to connect in with those different parts and engage in some therapy. So for you at home, we're going to connect to the part of you that just brings you more joy, love, and happiness. And see if we can amplify that. See if we can find ways of connecting that in to your everyday. And I'd like you to explore this later with other parts of your consciousness for things you know would be beneficial for you, for struggles you want to overcome. Maybe you're connecting to a part that's already doing something and helping it be better at it. Perhaps you're going to connect to a part of you that's been doing something that you don't really enjoy or find useful or beneficial, and mediate a response towards a direction that is helpful for your conscious goals and directions. I'm going to guide you through these exercises, and I want you just to go with me on this to begin with before you move it into self-hypnosis, because I'll be able to open that doorway up for you a little bit easier and introduce you to some aspects of your consciousness. Now, to help make this happen, there's going to be a couple of points where I use something other than just your body. So it would be beneficial for you if you pause this, race and find a mirror that you could look into for a little bit, preferably something that can be propped up on a stand, so that you can check this out. You don't need to, but it'll help. The other is to have a photo of you as a child. It seems weird, but we'll get to that when we get to that. If you have those two resources, you'll be able to go through those with me as I do this, rather than just watch this screen and see me talking to you. Now, on this, like I said, I'm going to guide you through this. I don't want you to do anything once we start, other than get the photo out, other than sit how I want you to sit, other than put the mirror in front of you. That's the level of your contribution. After I ask for part of you to start to communicate, I want you to allow your hand to be limp, loose, lazy, free, floppy, just to do absolutely nothing with it. I don't want you to help me, I don't want you to fight me, I want you to try and play along and pretend. I want this to be real for you. If nothing happens, nothing happens. If something happens, you will know part of your consciousness has communicated with you, and something amazing will be happening, and your life is just going to change amazingly if you do nothing and allow this part to come through. So when I ask for a finger to move, I don't want you to move that finger. Just to allow this other part to come through, to see if perhaps it can, and you'll see if it does or it doesn't. That's it. Your job is super easy. Just sit there with your hands how I tell you to put them and do nothing other than listen. Let's get into these exercises, shall we? One of the approaches you can use for this, the most simple and easy approach to be able to access this anytime, anywhere, to start building this up, is put your hands on your lap. Facing up's usually easiest because we're after a movement from a finger, and if we move a finger when it's on our lap like this, you can move a finger this way, or you can move it this way. If you got your hand on your lap like this, then your option is only to go up, not down. Or you can, but it's harder because there's resistance of your knee. So I find hands open on the lap is quite easy, or just dropped in between, wherever, or hanging off over your knee, so it drops as free and as floppy and limp and loose, so you know you're not controlling it. But this is the easiest. Generally, it's just on the lap, open. Now, for this, all you have to do is have the intention of connecting to a different part of your consciousness. With this, if you talk out loud, it will work a lot better. A voice out loud, a word spoken, is way more powerful than a thought inside your head. Not to discount thoughts, still extremely powerful, but I find this works slightly better if you speak out loud. Still work inside, don't stress. That's more the advanced processes to make use of later. But to begin with, I'd like you to find that space and comfortability to do this out loud. I'd like you to just look at those two hands. Just notice those hands, how they feel. And I don't want you to do anything. I want you to allow whatever to happen to happen. Allow some part to come through. And I'd like for that part of you that can control this, that's been paying attention to this, that would like to be the gatekeeper, to open up lines of communication, to start this process. If there's a part there that can, I'd like you to give us a flick of a finger on any one of those hands, a little twitch, a little quiver, a flicker. There we go. Excellent. So we've got one. So let's go from there. Haven't got that flicker yet. Show them again. Bigger, bigger each time. There we go. Now maybe your finger's flicked by now. Maybe it hasn't, and you might need to sit with it for a little bit longer. But then, once you've got that, you ask for that part of your consciousness to show you a yes. Show me a yes, please. Show me how you'd like to say yes. There we go. Sometimes it's a single flicker, sometimes it's a bigger one. Show that yes again. There we go. And show that yes again. There we go. If yours has been small, ask it to get a little bit bigger. Show me that yes again a little bit larger. Nice and clear. Not like a little whisper, like you're yelling it out. Yes, yes, yes. There we go. Lovely. Now, yes is an important word, but sometimes no is just as important, if not more. Could you show me a no, please? Show me how you'd say no. There we go. Show me that no again. Each time a little bit bigger, a little bit clearer. No, 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 no. Keep going. Show me those no's. No. No. Show me a no. There we go. And again, really loud, a nice big clear no. Fantastic. Now sometimes, you don't have to do this bit, but I like to sometimes have 2 extra options. So sometimes we don't have a clear yes or no. We're a bit vague, we're in between. We need a maybe, a perhaps, a somewhat, a kinda. Could you show me how you'd say maybe? Show me that maybe. Somewhat. Show me a maybe. Just on its own. Show me maybe. There we go. And maybe again. There we go. Now sometimes it's not a maybe, it's not a yes, it's not a no. Sometimes I might ask a weird question and you just don't know the answer. You might not have access to it. So, could you tell me how you just don't know? If you just don't know, show me that I don't know. A little bit bigger. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Fantastic. Thank you. Now, we've got communication. Now we can engage with it. So, are you happy to communicate with us here today? Mine is. I hope yours is too. If it's not, well, I'd advise you to try again later. If it is, then we're safe to continue. And I'd like this part inside that's been watching these videos, that's been absorbing this information, to make use of it, to help this stick in your mind, to help you remember to make use of it, to help you to take advantage of every little piece I offer, to trust in yourself, to build on this relationship, to be as wonderful as you can be, to absorb every bit of information shared in this video, to make use of for your consciousness, to be the best you can be. Can you do that? Fantastic. Now, if anybody out there had a no for that, I'd like that part inside to do some research tonight while the conscious mind is asleep and that body is resting, to go through the memories of this video and archive it all, to clear easy access memory, to allow it to flow, to bring it forward at the times when it's beneficial and helpful, to sit down and have another try, to practice, to make this easy so that it can be made use of whenever and wherever it's helpful in life. Now, if you've already had other experiences with ideomotor response or hypnosis before, I'd like this part to also go over that information, those experiences, and link these together to see what you can do to amplify this process using your own creativity and your own intelligence to help yourself become the best you can be. I'd like you to pay close attention to everything through the rest of this class to help amplify this even more and more as we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. Now we've just had communication. You've just stepped in to working with your consciousness. Guide you through that a little bit along the way, but I'd like you to do that yourself now, to try that after this, to see how you go. Pause this video, ask an extra couple of questions, see if you could connect with a different part of your consciousness. Thank you. Let's keep going. Another way you can do this is to connect to your inner child, to connect to who you were when you were younger. And you can do that just using that, sitting there and connecting in with the intention. You can close your eyes, you can imagine the young version of you, or you can get a photo of you as a child, a young you, that you can stare at and gaze at. You can sit there with that picture of you as a child and look into your eyes as a child and connect with those responses. Little Lance, show me a yes. Little Lance, show me a no. A maybe. I don't know. Hello, little man. How are you? Are you okay? Are you happy? Are you having fun? Can you help me to have a little more fun doing this? Can you help me to have a little more fun playing with my little boy? Can you help me to enjoy playing with that little man? Can you help him to have more joy? Help me to bring more joy into his life, to play, to chuckle, to have fun, to laugh, so that we can have more and more joy each and every day. Thank you. Thank you. Do you know you're loved? I'd like you to feel that love even more. Know you're appreciated. Fantastic. Thanks, man. And that's it. Simple as that. It's good exercise. For some of you, that might take quite some time. I've spoke with him before, so the connection's a little bit easier. He's still there. I don't need to be looking at that picture to keep that going, but I could. I found it a little bit more intense when I was looking at the photo. I could feel his emotion a little bit more. I could kind of hear his voice a little bit more inside. I knew what he wanted me to ask, what he wanted me to say. So that is a great practice to have to amplify all of this. Another way that really amplifies this is to use a mirror and to gaze into your own eyes as you do this, to really connect with that part of your consciousness through vision, with really looking at that part of you. Now with this one, it does create kind of a trance state, so it does cross those lines of where I said this is without trance, but you're still fully conscious enough to engage in that conversation. Now this is really powerful on multiple levels. One, this is where we start to introduce an energetic aspect to things and step into the world of mesmerism and fascination. We can really connect with that part of you energetically to create some form of healing other than just with your words. It creates a deeper connection. I'm sure you have noticed when you are with somebody else and you gaze directly into each other's eyes, it creates a more powerful connection, that you feel a little bit deeper connected to that person. It's harder to look somebody in the eyes and tell something that's not true. A lot of us have been trained to do that from a young age. Parents might have said, look me in the eye and tell me that. So you develop this ability to look somebody in the eye and tell something false, but you really feel it a lot more inside. And quite often that person on the receiving end will really feel that distrust a little bit more when you do it. But on the opposite side of that spectrum, you've got that love connection. I'm sure you can all think of a time where you've really connected with somebody, where you've had that loving feeling with somebody. Perhaps after a few dates with a potential partner, you gazed into each other's eyes longingly. That feeling of love with that question of whether or not you're going to get a kiss or something like that. Who knows? Perhaps in the middle of a really deep, intimate action, you've gazed into each other's eyes and you've really felt that connection. I'm sure you can all understand the power of your gaze, of creating a connection from some of your past experiences. So with this, we're trying to do that for our consciousness, for part of us. Like with looking at that photo of a child, except this is your eyes really looking back at you. It's not a photo, it's a real thing. This is your reflection. Now with this, since you're all hypnotherapists, this practice on its own is going to greatly increase your power as a hypnotist. Hypnosis started with the gaze, with fascination. This is how you can work with animals. This is how you can add an extra layer to your hypnosis of projecting that will and intent of what you need to believe and want and project that out. The animal magnetism, the mesmerism, the fascination. This simple exercise of gazing into the mirror for 10 minutes a day, trying your longest not to blink. The longer you can hold your gaze with yourself in the mirror without blinking, the better hypnotist you're going to naturally become. You're also going to become a little bit more confident as you do this. I highly recommend you do this. If you do this every day for 10 minutes for 3 months, you will notice a drastic difference with how often you blink. You will notice a drastic difference with your confidence. You will notice a drastic difference with how quick you can make change for your clients. Please practice this. Try it out. See for yourself. Do the experiment. Now with this, I'm teaching it in the avenue of how I use it with self-hypnosis, where you engage in conversation with this part of you, the hypnotist inside, to amplify these skills. So ask it to help bring this power into play. Now, let's get on with doing this experiment, with testing this. Okay, so we're going to test this now. So I want you to gaze into that mirror, to look into your eyes, either into your right eye or your left eye or your forehead or the brow in between, or if you can, to look at that space kind of like the magic eye books that were popular in the 90s, where you're looking through the image. So you're trying to look about 10 centimeters behind the mirror. So a little bit over 3 inches for you Americans. Try and gaze through that. Where, if it was your own head, you're roughly where the pineal gland is in your skull. Now your face will get weird when you do this. It will look a little strange. It might warp. It might go a bit funny. You might see things. Your face might change into something that looks a little different. Maybe whatever this part of your consciousness identifies with, this does get a little weird. But that's okay. That's just your eyes adjusting. It's just your consciousness trying to communicate with you. Just maintain that gaze. See how it feels. Maybe maintain that conversation. Maybe ask this part of you if it's trying to show you something. Maybe ask this part of you if you're just entering a trance. Maybe ask this part of you if it's all okay. Maybe ask it if it's just your eyes, your cones and rods adapting and warping. And that's okay. Now, so look into this mirror. Looking into the mirror with your hands still, again, on your laps, open, free. You don't want to do anything with them. You're just allowing whatever to happen. You're not creating anything. You're gazing into your eyes. And you're asking that hypnotist inside, who can help you, who will help you, to connect in to those hands, those arms, those fingers, and to show you that yes. Show you that yes. Show you that yes. Show you that yes. Bigger, louder, clearer. There we go. Now show you a no. That's it. And again, louder, clearer. Again. And you can ask for the maybe if you'd like. And I don't know. And I don't know. And then you can just gaze. And you can ask for help. You can ask this part of you to help you not blink. You can ask this part of you to help focus. You can talk about whatever bit you want to help your therapy grow, to connect back in of what you learnt off that trainer or this trainer or another trainer or this conference or the first class you did, the last book you read on hypnosis, the last book you read on therapy, maybe all the different times you've been in trance, maybe all the different times you've done some kind of hypnotic thing. And sometimes you might notice your hands do something else that's a little weird, and that's okay. That's just my hypnotist inside waving to me saying, hello, g'day buddy, how you going? You having a good time? Now sometimes you might notice I ask an open question. The more you do this, the more sometimes you notice a word or a phrase or something in your mind of some communication that's a little bit more than the finger signal. Like sometimes when I get a maybe, I get a kinda, but it's more like this, blah, 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 and tells me what fills in the gap. And that's great. I used to test that by asking, did you just say this? Were you trying to tell me that? And then I'd get a yes or a no if it was or it wasn't. Pretty much every time it was a yes. I started to get used to that inner dialogue of engaging with different parts of my consciousness, and it became easier and easier. So I want you to do this, to gaze into the mirror and connect to that part of you that you want to connect with and enjoy that experience. See what that's like. Feel it. And don't just ask for favors. Let it know that you appreciate, that you get to live a life as a hypnotherapist. You get to practice in one of the most wonderful arts that exists in this world, the art of conversing with consciousness in a different way than the average person. That you enjoy this field of interest. Now thank it for leading you down this pathway. Thank you to the hypnotist inside who's led me to become who I am, to do what I can do, for being able to engage in the conversation with myself the way I do. Thank you for that. Thank you for the way you help me get people into trance, to teach all these people at home how to communicate with parts with inside themselves, and for communicating with me here today. Thank you. And if you like, you can just be silent and see what comes. Perhaps as you're doing this, one of those thoughts might come into your head of this part of you trying to communicate with you, and you can gain deep insight. This part inside, I'd like to challenge you to help the conscious self out, to create more love, joy, beauty, wonder in the world by noticing it, to help the conscious mind see just how wonderful this world can be, to notice all the little things, whether it's a smile on a stranger's face, that brief flicker of a moment of eye contact with another human, whether it's watching an old couple holding hands walking down the street, still in love late into life. Perhaps it's noticing the innocent smile of a young kid playing. Perhaps it's just something simple, like the way the sunlight streams through the window and catches a speck of dust just floating, dancing around in the air. Maybe it's noticing a rainbow, a sunrise, a sunset, beautiful looking cloud. Perhaps just another beautiful looking human. Perhaps it's noticing that you have people in your life that care about you, or that you have a way of providing for yourself, that you get to eat every day, that you're not starving. You might get to live in a wonderful town. Whatever it is. I'd like to challenge this part of your consciousness to notice that everyday wonder, beauty of the world more and more, each and every day. There we go. To feel that loving connection. To grow closer to yourself, to enjoy these interactions, of these processes, to feel more love for yourself, more appreciation for yourself, more respect for yourself. You deserve better than the way you've been treating yourself over the years. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of success. You are worthy of prosperity. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of joy and happiness. You should find excuses to connect to that worthiness, to experience that, and to enjoy that. Can you do that for this person? If you've got to know and you can't, I'd like for this part inside just to experiment with it, to see if perhaps it might actually work. Just to try it, to amplify it each and every day and do the experiment. To give yourself that blessing of receiving that respect you give so many other people. I'd like you to find somebody to consciously think about who you really high regard for, that you hold great respect, love and appreciation for. Somebody who you'd like to have the best life possible. Hold that thought of that person. Think of their name, or their face, or whatever works for you. Feel that person. Now I want you to know that you are just as worthy of every little bit of love, respect, kindness, health, prosperity that person is. You are no different. You're a human. We all make mistakes. It's what we do with them that counts. Any mistake you've made in the past, you can let go of any reason to punish yourself for, hurt yourself for, and accept reasons to give yourself another chance. Do what you can to move forward to be the best you can be. And you do that, please. Thank you. Go back in the background. And that is the gazing method with it. And now your eyes might feel a little bit weird and they might feel a little bit strained. Don't do this for longer than 10 minutes without blinking. You will do a little bit of damage to your eyes there then. So don't go there with that. Just if you need to blink, have a blink. Try and do it slow and controlled. What I did when I was learning how to do this was to wink one eye and then the other so that I had lubricated my eyes, but I didn't blink. But you can still just do a quick blink if you like. It's nice if they're controlled and focused. It's a lot easier if you don't have bright lights in the room like I do for filming this, but the more you do this, the easier it gets either way. So enjoy this practice, and then when you're using this in your clinic, as you watch your client, gaze either at that point, their head, their solar plexus where their rib cage meets, or just at the hand that you're getting communication from, and project that will and intent for the change you want for that client. Hold that feeling that they will get that change and watch it happen. Watch that energetic connection amplify and grow with that. Perhaps when you did the mirror thing, you noticed some energy things flowing through the body. Now, I work a lot with energy. I'm an avid fan of Reiki, of energy healing, of mesmerism, of all different sorts of energetic things. Now, we all have an energy that flows through our bodies, as weird and strange as that sounds. I know the power of this because this energy had healed me of a pain I had chronic for nearly a decade. So I know and trust in the power of this because it did something I did not think was possible. With this, I've used this energy to heal all sorts of emotional pains, physical pains, spiritual pains, all sorts of harms I've had in my life. So I'd like you to amplify this and play with this a little further. Now, if you want, there is a Reiki attunement video you can watch on my website for free, branchesofhealing.com.au/attunement, that can amplify the energy that you can breathe through your body. It's a 10-minute little video that will help connect you to that energy and amplify what you can do. If you already have the ability to do energy, this will work a little bit better. You can do this without either of those as well, and just imagine as you go, and you'll soon notice that you might start to feel some different things. With this exercise though, you can get a little bit, let's say, wobbly and lightheaded. If this happens, just allow space to sit for 5 minutes or so afterwards to allow yourself to readjust, because you've just brought a lot of extra energy into your body, cleared out a lot of negative energy. So with this, I want you to imagine breathing energy in through the top of your head into your heart, and then out from your heart to the mirror or throughout your body. In and out through yourself. In and out to the room. It's good to alternate these. If you just breathe it in and out through your body, you'll put too much energy in your own body and you will have head spins. So I don't like you to do that all the time, but sometimes, like every now and then, a random breath, it's good to allow that energy and love to flow throughout your body, to find what needs to heal on its own. Breathe it out from that heart to the mirror. See what bounces back to you. See what doesn't. See what just flows out to the room. Maybe you're projecting it out to this other part of you. Perhaps it'll flow out to your hands. Perhaps it'll flow out of your eyes. You can allow it to go where it wants to go, but just imagine breathing it in to that heart to begin with, seeing where it flows on the out breath. But if you need to visualize something, I would recommend Visualize, imagining it coming down through the top of your head to your heart as you breathe in, out from your heart to the room as you breathe out. In, out, in, out. So do the same. Connect in, look at that mirror, ask to speak to the part of you that might be able to help you connect with a healing energy. To give you a flick of a finger, to show you a yes and a no. You can go for the maybe and the I don't know again if you like, or you can just keep it black and white, yes and no. And ask it to allow that energy to start flowing in. To breathe that healing energy in through the top of your head into your heart and out to that room. In and out at your own pace. Breathing in universal love and expressing that love to yourself, to your home, to your environment. Perhaps this part of you can help breathe that energy in to some part of your body or your consciousness that needs healing. And absorb that healing energy. And breathe out whatever's not needed. The stress, the tension. You breathe in healing. Breathe out the wound. Breathe in healing. Breathe out the pain or the suffering. In healing. Breathe out what doesn't belong. And as this is starting to flow nice and strong, you can be really specific. Ask it to work on something you need healing for. You need healing to accept that self-love of this self-healing process. Perhaps there's a physical pain within your body that could do with some healing. I've got some cuts and scrapes on my hands that I can breathe that healing into. Let it flow out. Just engage in conversation as suits. Your practice is one on your own. Allow that to flow. There's different ways you can expand on this. Breathing it in and out of various parts of your body. You can use the chakra system if you like. There's a point here, there's a point here, 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 and here. You can breathe in and out of each of those at your own pace, structure as you like. If you send me a message, I can send you a link to a little mini class I do just on that breathing exercise that you can integrate with this if you like to expand on this a little more. I highly recommend you utilize this practice to amplify what you can do for your body and just for sharing that loving, healing connection to other people. To open up your energy system to be the best you can be. Well, there we have it. Thank you for joining me in this hypnosis conference. I'm sure your mind is already ticking over of different ways you can apply this, and I would strongly encourage you to do so, to make use of this skill. Spend time, just a few minutes before you open your clinic up, each day to connect with that hypnotherapist inside and see if he or she can do the best job they can helping you. Connect in at the end of that day and give thanks. This is going to work so much better if you show gratitude and you give back to this part inside that's helped you out, and you say, I see what you did there. I seen you help with this client and that client. That worked amazingly. That was great. Keep that up. More of that, please. Fantastic. Thank you. You will get so much better results if you show gratitude each and every time you see a result. And if you're not sure, connect in, ask that question. Was that you that helped me out there then? Thank you. Great. More of that. Whatever it is. Do that. See what happened. This can be amazing. Now with this, you might find you hit a wall. You might find you get stuck somewhere for some change you're asking for yourself. With this different aspect of your consciousness, you might not be able to find the right question to ask. You might be stuck in a limiting belief, some reality tunnel that conflicts from you getting the change you need, you want, you desire. Now, if this is the case, the longest you spend in this dialogue is still not going to make any difference. Might make some, but you might not get the result you want. I find this happens occasionally. I do a lot of this, as you can imagine. And sometimes it works perfectly. Sometimes it does not. Occasionally, I might spend a few weeks trying to get a result on something and getting nowhere. Getting lost of finding what key question is going to make that change, because I'm stuck in my own reality tunnel. I'm blocked from that view. I've got my own self-sabotage program running that I can't hop out of. So what I do is I call up another therapist and I book an appointment and I go see this other therapist, and usually she'll get the change for me that I need within a few minutes. More often than not, in the first 5 minutes of her dialogue with my consciousness, boom, she's found the right key and I can move forward. So with this, if you get stuck, please connect out. I do sessions all over the world by Zoom. It's easy. I have no problems connecting with you to book a session in and see if I can help you through that bit, or coach you one-on-one of how to do this a little bit better, how to integrate this with your hypnotherapy practice. Please, if you feel you're stuck, do yourself a favor and ask for that help to get that next step. And alternatively, if this does just work fantastic for you straight up and you're getting all these successes, I love hearing success stories. So please reach out, let me know, gloat at me how great this has been working. I want to hear your stories. I get great joy out of hearing when somebody's taken something I've delivered, put it to use, and found joy in their life from it. So please, either way, let me know how it goes, of how you've enjoyed working with this. So thanks again for joining us for the 8th Hypnosis Conference. I'm Lance Baker from Branches of Healing. Contact me at www.branchesofhealing.com.au. Email me at lance@branchesofhealing.com.au. Find me on Facebook, whatever you like. Reach out. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference and enjoy the conversations with parts of your consciousness.